Hi, Ben.
Daddy?
You want a balloon, Ben? They float.
They all float.
Come here, son. You'll like it down there.
You'll never have to grow up.
Hello. Do you want to play a game?
Let's shoot this straight to DVD piece of shit already.
Anytime they cast for something, and I think they still do it now, they have these things called the breakdowns. The breakdowns are just a list of projects and roles that are casting, and it tells the agent, who to talk to, who to submit, your clients for the role. Or they would just call them up and book a time, say 3:45 Wednesday, be there. But what I thought was kind of fortuitous about this was it was only a few months before we found out they were casting for this, that I'd actually gotten my hands on the book. And it was the first time that I imagined myself in a situation, because everything about that character was me. Like, I was moving a lot because I was getting closer and closer to the business. I didn't really have a dad. All of the hallmarks of Ben Hanscom, being bullied, and all of that shit. So, like, I really wanted to do this. If they were going to do it while I was still appropriately aged, please submit me, is what I told my agent at the time. So a couple months later, hey, that Stephen King's It thing, they're doing it, and they'd like to see you. So it's sort of the typical audition experience, but I think for me, this one was kind of protracted because I went in and I gave it like the best audition of my life. It was great. I felt great about it. And then I didn't hear anything for weeks. And usually by that time, it's a no-go. Sometimes the agent will have feedback for you, which is always helpful because it kind of tells you what you could have done better. I didn't get any feedback, so I just thought they went a different direction. A couple of weeks go by and you're like, it's over. I can put that one to bed. I guess I didn't get it. And then finally on a Saturday, they did a chemistry read where they brought a bunch of kids in and kind of mixed and matched pairs just to see who could have the best chemistry together. I just remember there weren't many Bens there at all, many fat kids. So I asked the camera operator, where are the other Bens? And he said, oh, they're looking at a kid, I think in Texas and maybe a couple in Vancouver, but we're pretty sure it's you. You never get that kind of feedback from anyone.
Hey, what's this? By George, Martha, it's the River Nile. And count them, 4 sphinxes.
Richie.
You were expecting maybe Gunga did.
That's Richie. He can drive you to the bug house and back, but he's okay.
I heard that, you skirt. Hi, Bill. How you doing, Eddie Spaghetti?
Don't do that. I hate it when you do that. And don't call me Eddie Spaghetti.
Oh, you love it, Eddie. It's what makes you so chuckalicious. Richie Toge is my name. And doing voices is my game. This is Stan the Man Uris. Stan is a Jew, which means he's really smart and says oi a lot.
Richie's got a high metabolism and tends to make him hyperactive.
So you, haystack. What, are you building a dam or something?
Yeah.
You ever built one before?
No.
How do you know it'll work?
Well, of course it will. Why wouldn't it?
Yeah, but how do you know?
I just know.
Up until that point, I had mostly just done, small guest appearances or mostly, comedy focused. Lots of pratfalls and gags and things, fat humor, always eating. It was a departure. It was an opportunity to do something completely different than what I'd been accustomed to doing. And in this sense, being fat was just an almost unessential attribute. It was not the focus. It wasn't something that defined my character. I mean, because I know he gets bullied right away from Henry Bowers and all that because of the outside, you know, and that's the low-hanging fruit. But internally, there's much more, and thanks to Stephen King, the way he writes his characters, there's infinitely more to this person than just his body or his mannerisms. You know, he lays it all out for you. You know everything that character is made of. And there are very few writers that do that. You know, a lot of times it's just very like surface level. And Stephen King builds it in. He builds the entire package for you. John Ritter asked me when we met, he's like, what kind of actor are you? And I said, I don't know, what do you mean? And he said, so are you like okay, I'm reading through this, my line, bullshit, my line guy, or do you read the thing back to front? And I was happy to say I read the thing back to front, you know, because at that moment I felt like a real actor. So we had to find some business, some mannerisms, some speech or something. And I think we settled on the fingernail biting, had to find something that tied us together. And as far as I know, most of the kids got to have some one-on-one time with the adults, and we didn't really shoot it in two separate episodes. I mean, all of the shooting was logistic. I mean, we would do our bit and they'd do theirs or vice versa. So we'd see them in passing. We'd see them from time to time. Obviously, it's not really shot like linearly. So like in front of Beverly's house, you know, they could do, you know, current day and past on the same day, you know, just for logistics. The thing about it, and that it is that, you know, most features have a lot of lead time. They literally had an air date ready to go. So we were shooting in June and July. I think we finished in August, which only gave them a couple months, max, maybe a month and a half.
Bev, the stones!
Your tastes so much better when you're afraid.
Hurry, Bev, kill it!
Kill me? Oh, you are priceless, brat. I am eternal, child. I am the eater of worlds and of children. And you are next.
This is battery acid, you slime!
I think in this sense, it was unintentional. I think it was just purely logistics as to why we never got much time with Tim, except for when we were in the studio doing the confrontation in the sewer, in that centrum. That was really the only time we had around Tim Curry. Adam, I know Adam had him for off-camera voiceover during the shower scene. But we didn't see him very much. I mean, in fact, when I first see him standing on the lake, he had already shot his bit. And so when I was coming to set, he was coming off set. And that's when we met. I mean, it's very, you know, transactional, but he was very gracious. And I was a bit starstruck. The minute the director says cut, you know, you're going to reset and do it again. I mean, the hardest part is making it new every time. But no, like I didn't find him particularly intimidating. I found Tim Curry, the actor, intimidating to work with because he's so intense and so very good that it makes you a better actor yourself. I think there's a certain amount of nostalgia. I think at the end of the day, it is a coming of age story and very relatable to a lot of people. There's so many different characters, so many different archetypes. It's hard not to find one of them that you relate to, and to see them, you know, this group of outsiders find strength in numbers and conquer their fears. I think is something that sticks with you. So, you know, we were just a vessel for that. In fact, when I started doing those conventions, and you know, you get to talk to people, you know, one-on-one. And they tell you just that. Like they tell you, I'm alive today because of you guys I found strength in what you did, which is totally absurd, right? It's bizarre that there are real life consequences to art that we did 30 years ago. But I think there are a number of stories like that Stand By Me. But it is one of the best, I think.
Kiss me, fat boy. Oh, nobody wants to kiss the fat boy.
Just leave me alone!
Alone? Oh, you've always been alone.
That's not true. I have real friends. Bill, Eddie, Mike, Stanley, Richie, Beverly, they're my real friends.
Oh, kiss me, as if it were the last time.
What the hell are you doing, kid?
I think there's room for both. I think both Pennywises are completely different. I love what they did with the new movies because they got to touch on some things that we couldn't, that I think were important. You know, especially like with my character, for example, his issue in the library, you know, when he first encounters it, I thought it was powerful. I mean, it's truer. I like the fact that they got to go a little bit deeper with like Henry Bowers cutting an H in Ben's stomach. I mean, we got by fine without, you know, the violence. In this particular sense, it's important. I went to the theater to see the first one 3 times, I think. It was great. And then when the director asked me to do the cameo in chapter 2, I was like, dude, I will wear a chicken suit for you, because I think he's really a great director. He's an artist. It wasn't weird at all because it's a completely different universe. And it was designed to be one of those, more of an Easter egg than it was a cameo, you know, like if you know, you know. And there were enough people that knew, and that was a lot of fun. It was totally rewarding. It was great to be back on the set. I mean, I hadn't done anything like that for a decade. When we did this, nothing had been done on television like this. No one had ever brought horror like this to television, you know. So, yeah, I really enjoyed them. I was nervous for them at first, but I was enjoying myself through and through.